Hey guys, welcome to another interview on this channel. Today I have my great friend all the way from the UK, Simon Young. He's a massive YouTube ads expert, one of the top experts in the world, and also the co-founder and CEO of S Media, which is the leading YouTube ads agency in the UK. Not really an agency now, he's going to tell us more exactly how he defines S Media. But yeah, so really excited, honored to have you here, Simon. How are you?
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for inviting me on. It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so if you just want to make an intro about yourself, so people that don't know you will understand who you are, and then we go through the questions.
People go, who's this guy with the grey hair, first off? Well, I do describe myself as I'd like to be described as one of the OGs of the internet. I've worked on it since the very beginning. I was obsessed with computers when I was, back in the 80s. And then the internet came along. At the time I was working for a recordable media distributor, so computer peripherals. And somebody said, look, we need a website. And I had a go at that and never looked back. Absolutely loved producing websites, got absolutely obsessed with SEO, still am today, as you know. Long story short, I've had a few big e-commerce businesses, worked for several agencies, worked for big brands, started my own agency 7 years ago. That was a business called Limitless, merged with my now business partner, Andy Price. So he had a creative agency called And Create, and he was lacking in the digital side. I was lacking in the creative side. We merged those two together to make a business called Institution. But during lockdown, so over the last 9 months, we will touch on it later in this, I'm sure, we've been using our IDAR system to drive conversions through YouTube. And some of the returns on ads have been like things you've never seen, like tens of thousands of %. So it's been exciting times working with some really big brands, but yeah, it's good times.
Awesome. So I was saying before, S Media is the leading UK agency, but you don't really define yourself as an agency. So if you want to make this clear before we go into the questions.
Well, I'm sure everybody would probably call us an agency. We got fed up with being on the agency merry-go-round. So, win a few clients, lose a client, step forward, step back, and you're selling time for money. So we are a media buyer now. So we'd like to think that we're in competition with people like Mediacom, buying direct from YouTube at the best rates and being able to drive the cost of ads down. So we really say we're a media planning strategy partner for YouTube.
Amazing. And amazing, guys. So if you want also to then reach out to Simon, I'm going to put the link in the description, obviously to the S Media website, and also to get in touch with Simon. So why then should entrepreneurs be using and brands be using YouTube ads right now?
Well, it is the best thing I've ever seen in marketing in 25 years of marketing. If I step back, my background is I was originally an accountant, and I tell people that because I'm sort of a bit autistic about the numbers and the data. I get lost inside campaigns, but I can sort of spot the patterns. And the real beauty with YouTube at the moment is it's sort of still like untouched virgin territory because so few brands are actually taking advantage of it. If you compare that to sort of Facebook, where it's running out of space to put all the ads. We all sit on there and you scroll through and you can see every other thing is an ad, and people sort of get fed up with it. But if you look at YouTube in the sense that people are actually looking to be entertained, educated, looking for answers to questions. And then if you're interrupting that with the correct content, not necessarily an ad, you can get their attention because they're leaning in, they're paying attention. Even, in terms of, I've got big brands coming to me now saying, look, we're looking for another lever. And one of the a global brand that we're dealing with, he said to me, look, TV is our go-to. We do tons of TV. I need another big lever that I can pull and rely on. and that is YouTube. And he's pushing into YouTube because he sees none of his competitors doing it. And the main reason for that is people just think that, oh, if I'm going to have a YouTube channel, I've got to have amazing content going out all the time. I've got to have a really active channel. Whereas in reality, the fact is you just need a channel and an ad and a Google Ads account, and away you go. And it's the targeting. Like if you take the audience profiling that you can do through Google now, you can absolutely define who you want that ad in front of and not waste a single cent of any budget. You know, that's the real reality. Then you can track it from end to end and scale properly. And that's where we're seeing a lot of people that are coming across from Facebook. And I do say, you know, you've got to use both, but when they start running campaigns on YouTube, they sort of find that they're able to scale more reliably than they are on Facebook. So it's Google's helping people and encouraging people in that way.
Amazing. So I'm sure like now the question that people have right now, the $1 million question is, are YouTube ads better than Facebook ads? Because I've been, okay, in the marketing space, much shorter than you, it's been 5 years, but I know that majority of people use Facebook ads, maybe 80% compared to 20% YouTube. So what do you think about this comparison, Facebook ads and YouTube ads?
Completely different beasts. And the danger is, and we see this all the time, is people working in silos. So we work with a lot of businesses where they are running Facebook ads, but perhaps their agency's running it or their internal team are running their Facebook ads and they want to try YouTube. And that's fine, but it doesn't work unless you actually tie everything together. So you build the funnel correctly, you get maybe YouTube at the top of the funnel for brand awareness and traffic, and obviously some conversion and telling stories. But we found some amazing results where people have been on Facebook, they keep their Facebook ads running, but they run YouTube for the brand awareness piece and engagement, and then they remarket to the people that are coming through from YouTube and make an offer on Facebook. So to answer the question, look, I would honestly say YouTube ads are better than Facebook. And look, my whole business is YouTube. So if I answer that question in any other way, I think people will be quite surprised. But I like to see the two working hand in hand. They work, and there's other industries, you know, certain niches work better on Facebook, obviously. But we are seeing the opportunities off the scale on YouTube.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm sure people that are watching this maybe know my story, that I founded the Ninja Networker with Fraser Brooks. And we started with Facebook ads back in 2017. For 2 years, we just did Facebook ads. Then we came across YouTube ads. We started doing YouTube ads. And what we found out, maybe you can confirm this or not, but is that maybe the cost per lead is a bit higher than Facebook, but then the cost per sale is actually much lower because they are more qualified people. They go on YouTube because they want to find a solution to their problems, you know, like they are already almost ready to buy compared to Facebook. So I don't know if it's what you also found out during these years.
Yeah. Look, the absolute fundamental difference is you don't go on Facebook to, you know, you're there to probably be entertained or, you know, network with people or see what your friends are doing or self-aggrandize and post what you're doing or what you're eating for lunch. You know, we've all done a lot of that in lockdown. But you're right. You know, if I take an example, we're working with a well-known weight loss coach at the moment, and he's got his funnel both on Facebook and on YouTube, and they are split. The Facebook agency won't work with us, which, you know, I find, you know, that's upsetting. We should be working together. But the cost per lead on Facebook is £2 or £3 for him. The cost per lead on YouTube is just over £20. Now that sounds awful, right? Yeah. But if you look at the fact that the quality of the lead from YouTube is 5 times better. So he's getting hundreds and hundreds of leads from Facebook, but they're all the wrong people.
Yeah.
And the ones that we're driving off of YouTube, he's getting better quality conversations. And bearing in mind, this is a £3,000 to £4,000 coaching program that he's selling, he's still achieving 6 or 7 times ROI off of his YouTube ads, whereas he's struggling. It's a balancing act. It's all these type of things. It's where does the quality come from as opposed to the volume. And I know there's a lot of businesses I've dealt with in the past, they just want volume of leads to keep salespeople busy. Well, we should be working actually to get, we're never going to get to 1-to-1, are we? 1 click, 1 inquiry, 1 lead, 1 sale. We'd all like to get that one. And it's not a magic bullet, but the real thing is with YouTube, you can actually disseminate where all those leads are coming from, which campaigns they're coming out of, and continually work to improve the actual performance and quality of the leads. So that's the real difference that I see.
Amazing. So obviously you've got much more experience than me. So what are like the 3 biggest mistakes you see people making when they run their YouTube ads?
Well, number 1 is patience, right? People are they expect it to be the same as Facebook. So we see people jumping over, starting YouTube campaigns, and probably the first, if we jump back, right, it's probably not patience. The first mistake people make is not setting the goals properly, not deciding how much they're going to spend and what they expect to get back from that, and then putting the tracking in place to understand whether they've achieved those goals. Because otherwise you get into a scenario where it's almost like gambling at that point. I'll put more money in, I'm going to win. Oh, I didn't win. A bit more, I'll still keep going. And then they lose heart because, you haven't achieved you haven't actually set what you expected success to look like. So when you're planning out a campaign, you've got to obviously plan what your audiences are, what your acceptable cost per lead is, what sort of click-through rates you want to see, what people are doing. And the other part of that, the biggest mistake we see is the landing pages don't convert. I have people come to me and say, oh yeah, I get 20% on-site conversion. You run a campaign, and you and I both know this, Vince, do they really? Maybe they've told you that, and you've based your assumptions off of that assumed conversion rate on site. You send great quality traffic and it converts at 3%, and then it's the campaign's fault, not the landing page. So landing page and funnel experience is paramount. If it doesn't convert when the traffic lands, that's criminal. And the third thing I'd say is not setting up the remarketing loops properly and joining all of the social channels together. Because if you're working in silos, you're throwing money, away that you shouldn't be.
Yeah, 100%. Also, about the landing page, maybe it's the number that they get from the warm traffic from their list, so it's not actually cold traffic. And then retargeting has been also for my previous businesses, current businesses, like game changer. Like 70-80% of the sales could come from.
But to talk to the first thing I said in terms of patience, YouTube ads do take quite a long time to warm up and to learn, and there's a lot of audience opportunity there. There's I've been running an MCC Google account for 20 years, right? And I'm still learning something pretty much every day inside that account, or inside hundreds of customer accounts that I run. So to expect yourself to go from, somebody who's probably not used Google Ads before to master of that universe, like I am by no means a master. I am, I'm a member of a lot of the groups on Facebook that are the guru groups, and the reason I'm a member of those groups is because I learn something from them all the time, and the possibilities are endless. So overcomplicating your campaigns is a big problem, but being impatient, tinkering with the campaigns, and that's what Google really doesn't like. And that's something somebody can learn from Facebook, because we all know, you know, you go into your Facebook ads and make a tweak, change an audience, change a budget, you know, all of these sort of things. It's just so destructive to any type of campaign. And we'll go into it deeper in other videos, but I think, you know, the thing is, people need to understand that you need to let a campaign learn and just sit on your hands and understand it's going to spend budget, and know that it will spend budget before you actually learn. And it's all about the data and learning and testing and everything that comes out of that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Patience is the key. We are both a bit impatient, as we know, but in this, that we have to be patient, otherwise we can lose lots of money. So obviously we saw the mistakes. So what are now the three top strategies that people can deploy with YouTube ads?
Well, if I was starting on YouTube ads today and I'd never tried it, the number one thing is to get the hook right within the video. So when your audience first comes across your cold video, you have got 3 seconds, and there's a lot of people that talk about 3 seconds, 6 seconds, what that hook looks like. You've got to put yourself in the shoes of the person who's watching, and what's going to get them to continue to watch your video. Now, it's not necessarily about keeping everybody, because we want to keep just the people that are going to buy or inquire, and we actually want people to skip who aren't engaged. So, you know, within that first 29-second window, if you're running an in-stream ad, you want people actively skipping and leaving if they're not interested. But speaking to somebody within that first 3 to 6 seconds and getting the hooks right, and then testing multiple hooks. So not presuming to know exactly what's going to work. Remember, you know, if you're the advertiser, you are too close to your product. You are in the game. You understand all the phrases and words that you use to describe what you do. You need to think about what the general public or your customer wants to hear in those 3 seconds, but you've got to test several different hooks. And typically, if we're running a campaign, we'd probably start with 6 hooks. And I wouldn't suggest anybody starts with that, probably. But if you started with 3, that's a good starting point. 3 different 15 to 20-second pieces at the start of your ad, and make it, say, a 3 or 4 minute total watch time ad. And there's other reasons for that, but we'll come on to that in other videos. The other top tips are, if I was starting today, I would just do the remarketing piece. So if you're just remarketing, people are landing on your website, you're driving traffic from Facebook and other sources, set your YouTube ads up just to remarket to the people who already know who you are, right? And who have already been on your website, because you are then omnipresent, right? And I hear a lot of people using that word, but if, for example, you've been on my website, Vince, and you know who I am, and then you see me and you see me and you see me, but you keep skipping, I'm not paying for that. It's free. Like, I'm front of mind with you all the time. And I get people that I've literally never spoken to who have been on the S Media website, and then they'll inquire, like maybe 2 or 3 months, you know, because it's quite a long sales cycle. And the first thing in their message to me on LinkedIn or on email will be, I literally can't not see you. I see you all every single day. Like, and that's what's converted that piece of business. So
you follow me.
That remarketing can cost next to nothing. You know, it can cost, you know, like say $100 a month might get me in front of tens of thousands of people. So that is without doubt the number one strategy on YouTube. It's amazing, and everybody should be doing that. And if you get into that, you can get enormous numbers of conversions. And the other thing I'd probably say for a third tip would be use YouTube at the tip of the funnel, the top of the funnel. So don't put in too much budget to begin with. Let it learn. You're going to have to set a cost per view, right? So don't jump in with maximize conversions, because I don't know whether a lot of people realize this, but when you go on to create a YouTube campaign, there is a setting that says maximize conversions within Google Ads.
Yeah.
That is an anagram of please take every penny out of my wallet that you can, and I don't care whether I get anything back for it, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to be careful how you spend your budget. But if you're going to start out and you're going to start small, start with 2 or 3 really small campaigns, maybe 10 or 15 bucks a day, and let it learn. And that learning in itself is worth fortunes in the long run, because you will be able to teach Google. And I've seen campaigns where we've run really, really small budgets, paused them, come back a month or 2 later, and then reused those audiences. And this comes back to the patience thing. What actually Google's done in the meantime for you is gone out and created these audiences that fit so the audiences didn't fit on day one.
Yeah.
And it actually expected you to pay to play the game for a month or 2. But if you run it for a month and paused it and come back a couple of months later, it's done all the hard work, and then you'll find that those campaigns convert a lot better. But that's the patience thing.
Awesome. Yeah. And when you were saying about maximize conversions and the setting is like, of course, Google, the goal at the end of the day is to make more money. So they recommend you to do something. It's the same on Facebook. There is an option called expand audience interest to reach more people. So, but at the end of the day, it's just for Facebook to make money. So, yeah.
You know, like press the cash register. That's the one.
Exactly. So guys, if when you approach something new, even if you're doing YouTube ads, you can see it's like a massive work. I also maybe know like 5%. So make sure you reach out to people like Simon. There will be links in the description. We also started a free Facebook group. We have courses coming up. But yeah, so make sure you follow people that know what they do. And then you talked about a bit about IDAR. So it's your system, that something amazing that for sure can benefit lots of people. So yeah, please explain, tell us more about IDAR.
Well, yeah, IDAR is something that I built 3 years ago. And we were doing an awful lot of work on the display network for clients. And I don't like to use the word play, but we were playing with some quite big budgets at the time. And the risk when you're spending a lot of money into the display network is that's everywhere, right? That is apps, all sorts of websites, wherever they choose to serve that content. And as soon as you spin those type of campaigns up, Google offers you tens of thousands of different placements based on your audience parameter. Now, when we were running those campaigns, you can obviously manually go through and start pausing placements, adjusting based on sets of rules. And the IDAR system, it stands for Intelligence-Driven Ad Results. It was a system that I built to manually, do the manual job automatically. So it goes through, cleans those placements that aren't working out of a campaign, and then spins up lookalike placements around those that are working based on parameters. So parameters might be, have I had this number of clicks? In simple terms, have I had 100 clicks? Have I got a conversion? No. So clean that placement. So there's a lot of work that goes on in the back end of Google to try and stop invalid traffic, because there are a lot of websites still out there that there are bots clicking your ads. There's people clicking your ads on AdSense. There's even teams of people clicking ads to make money for people. There's absolutely horrendous stories of people losing 15-20% of their budget all the time. And I would still say within Google, unless you're using a protection tool against these type of placements, like something like PPC Protect or ClickCease, one of these tools, you're just open to having your ads clicked all the time by bots. But what I did was that IDAR system, and it is it's still human intelligence overlaid into a programmatic system that's sorting these placements. We used it in display, and one of the campaigns had 137,000% ROI. Right, it was eye-opening. Right, and the client, I wish I had charged the client based on
percentage on the profit.
Yeah, if I was a lead generation business and sold per lead, I would have retired right off the back of that campaign just about. But what it did do is open my eyes to the opportunity where if you're teaching Google properly and you're in control, and part of the industry is Google are trying to push people towards the use of smart campaigns. Just jogging back to top tips, don't use the smart options, use the advanced interface rather than what Google tries to get you to do.
It's like the boost button on Facebook, right?
Yeah, exactly, like the boost button. And there's going to be a lot of people coming over to YouTube ads, and a lot of them are going to be tempted to use the smart features. Please don't do that, because that is the same as the boost button. All you need to do is click at the top in tools and switch to advanced mode, and then you can create all your campaigns yourself. So that's always worth doing. But what we did then was we took IDAR and we moved it over onto YouTube, and it did a job, right? It started to work, and it was saving us tens and tens of hours, hundreds of hours across multiple clients from having to go and manually remove placements and adjust campaigns.
Yeah.
But we've taken it a step further now, where it actually it just works off the parameters that we put in at the start of the campaign. And because we've run so many campaigns for so many people, we know where those parameters sits within individual industries. Then we can actually get it to control the campaign and sit at a higher level and work on conversion rather than all the rubbish that's in the bottom end of YouTube, the stuff you don't want, and it keeps you out of the bot networks. And you learn more quickly, so then you can test your theories, and just it fast forwards the whole process.
Yeah, and you were saying how much on average can the other systems save on the ad spend?
So typically, IDAR will I've seen it save people at least 50% of their budget. The PPC protection tool that I use, that saves 15 to 20% typically of a budget. Yes, you'll pay for it. It costs you about 1% of your budget. So, you spend 1%, you save 15. So, it's all, but there's loads of these tools out there. They're all, there's some really high level ones, but I think, at the end of the day, all they're doing is blocking placements you don't want. And well, look, I'll stop giving too many tips now, but the other one would be watch where, if you start a YouTube campaign, watch that it's not serving into kids channels. There's like, I'm sat here on this computer now, my kids will use this computer tonight.
Yeah.
Now, this PC is profiled to me. I'm cookied, it's my user. But if my kids are sat here watching Minecraft or Roblox or any other channel they choose, do you really want your ads served into that? Not really. No, not especially if they leave it running and it just runs and runs and it watches your ads, and you don't want that. So you can buy placement lists. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I will gladly send them some exclusion lists to put into your campaign, because that cut, I think I've got 60,000 on one of the ones that I use, and that cuts 60,000 channels out of where you don't want to be serving ads. So yeah, anybody wants that, send me an email.
Amazing. Yeah, and also, Simon, I would say make sure you close Photoshop before your kids go to your computer, because Simon. Now, this is about YouTube ads, but Simon is also very good on Photoshop, but that's another interview. So where can people find out more about you? Obviously, I'm going to put all the necessary links in the description, but if you just want to say what you want.
I've got an active following on LinkedIn. A lot of people connect with me there. We post a lot of content onto LinkedIn. You can follow us, believe it or not, on our YouTube channel. So if you search for S Media. But one of the things that, how you and I came to meet, Vince, was you helping me rank videos at the top of search on YouTube, and that's been amazing. You know, the course that I took of yours and the subsequent work that we've done together, and I've done a lot of work in SEO before, ranking videos at the top of YouTube's worked really well for us. So I think if you search YouTube SEO, YouTube marketing, PPC audit, all these sort of things, we come up. So please do search for us that way. You can go onto Google and search for YouTube ads agency. I know we don't necessarily use the word agency, but we do rank for that. We rank for YouTube marketing, but you know, if you want to come direct, you can just go to www.s.media.
Amazing. Yeah, at the time we are recording this, obviously you are also working on your book, which is going to come out in a few weeks. So then I'm going to put the link again. And yeah, so thank you so much, really, Simon, for this. We are going to do another interview a bit more advanced for like a bonus of a course I have. So guys, if you're interested in this, also let us know. Yeah, thank you so much, Simon, for your time. I'm sure people got lots of value, and see you very soon. Ciao, Simon.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.